They didn't call them tryouts here. They called them evaluations. Mr. Dolan, Jimmy's dad, explained this to all of them, saying that even though each and every one of them was supposed to try his hardest, they weren't trying out, because if you were willing to put in the time and the effort, you were going to be a member of his team. Scott still thought of himself as trying out. To him, being here meant he was trying to show he belonged, even in front of somebody like Jimmy Dolan, who'd said, "Wait a second, the brain is going to try out for football?" as soon as he'd seen Scott out on the field with the rest of the guys. "Just ignore him," Chris said. Scott kept his voice low, because the last thing he wanted to do before tryouts, evaluations, was make the coach's son mad at him. Especially this coach's son. "I've got a better chance of beating you out for quarterback than I do of ignoring that guy," Scott said. "It's gonna be fine," Chris said. It was a disaster. "It wasn't as bad as you think," his dad said in the car on the way home. "You weren't there." Scott was slumped down so far in the back seat that his dad had to actually lift his head a little bit if he wanted to see him in the rearview mirror. "As a matter of fact, champ, I was there. The whole time." "I didn't see you." "You weren't supposed to." "We started at 5, Scott said. You're never home from work by then." The evaluations had gone from 5 to 8, and Scott's dad had been waiting with the other parents in the parking lot when it was over. The parents had not been allowed on the field. "I left work early," his dad said. "And then I found a nice spot in the woods where I could watch, hoping that I wouldn't get arrested by the town football police." "Well, if you saw us, there's no way you can think I played good," Scott said, "even if I am your son." He made a gagging sound like he was about to choke his brains out. "I was the worst one out there." They had pulled into their driveway. Hank Parry shut off the engine, but made no move to get out of the car. He just turned around so he was facing Scott. And he was smiling. Sometimes Scott would catch his dad smiling at him and have no idea why. They'd be playing football out on Parry Field, just the two of them, and Scott would be messing up all over the place the way he usually was. And still his dad would be smiling. And Scott, no matter what was going on with him, no matter how lousy or frustrated he felt when he couldn't do anything right, would feel better looking back at him. It was even happening now, after football evaluations that made Scott want to give himself an F. "It was just the first night," his dad said. "You were nervous in front of the other kids, and I know you were nervous trying to impress those coaches. You think the other guys weren't feeling the same way?" His dad was trying to make it stop hurting, basically. Scott knew that was what parents did. Well, maybe not all parents. He wasn't positive that all of them were as cool as his parents were. But his dad was acting as if Scott had just gotten knocked down, and now he was trying to help him up. He had gotten knocked down good today, no matter what kind of Band-Aid his dad was trying to put on it. Dropped easy passes, like that was his signature move. Beaten by every kid his size in the running races. When they'd been asked to run through some tires, in what Mr. Dolan called agility drills, he'd fallen twice his first time through. When they were asked to do some throwing, both for distance and for accuracy, like it was one of those pass, punt, and kick contests, he was so bad trying to keep the ball between the ropes that Jimmy Dolan yelled out, "Hey, Brain, are you sure you're right-handed?" Everybody in earshot laughed. Scott didn't wear a watch, so he wasn't sure what time it was, how long they'd been at it, or how many more drills he could embarrass himself in before they were finished. But already, he wanted to quit. How come sports came so hard to him? "I'd trade half my brain just to be half as good as some of the guys I saw out there today," he said to his dad from the back seat. His dad still hadn't made any move to go into the house, so neither had he. He still couldn't believe his dad had come home early from work, just to watch him fall all over himself in front of Jimmy Dolan's dad and the two other coaches. "Don't ever say that," his dad said. "Why not?" "Because if you gave away anything from inside that amazing head of yours, you wouldn't be you," his dad said. "And I like my son just the way he is, thank you very much. Besides, I'll tell you a secret. A lot of these kids, would give anything to be as smart as you. If I ask you something, will you tell me the truth? Scott said. You know I will, his dad said. I have a lifetime contract to do that with you. Scott said, Don't you wish I was better at sports than I am? That smile again. His dad shook his head slowly from side to side. Nope, he said. Not true. Not today. Not ever. Well, Scott said, I wish I had more of you in me than I do. Like the part that made you a great football player. I was never great, he said. I was all right. And then I outworked everybody enough to be better than I should have been. But it wasn't just football with his dad. He was good at golf and tennis and swimming and softball. Everything. Scott was good at school. I could outwork the whole stupid world and still not be better than anybody, Scott said. I'd settle for being even a little more like you were when you were my age. You've got it all wrong, champ, his dad said. Sometimes I'm the one wishing he was more like you. Yeah, right. No, I really mean it. Someday you'll be able to see what I saw today, hiding over there in the trees. And what's that? That you were the toughest one on that field.